Good morning. I'm Wayne Lansing from Historic Auto Attractions. I am in the Old West Room, and I would like to show you a section called Frontierland. We have a nice lot of artifacts that go back in that time period. Frontier life was a very hard part of life. It usually required sunup to sundown. When they went out and had to plow their fields, they used this style of plow. They had to use usually 2 horses, 2 oxen, and pull it and follow this plow to churn up the ground. When they did an end of a day's work, they were exhausted. I found most of these items here at a large farm estate sale, and it drew my attention so well because I just knew these had to be a very good part of the museum. This was pretty neat to see by itself. This is an old well pump, and the casing is all made out of wood. Now the frontier man, they'd usually have themselves a wood shop where they'd have to do repairs and stuff. Like when they'd sharpen their knives, this is what they actually used. They had a big stone. They'd have a crank on here and they'd turn it, and they'd use that to sharpen up their tools. Now I did not know some of these things existed myself till I seen these things. But imagine an old drill that had a crank like this, and they could set the angles and do what they wanted. We have to remember there was no electricity back in those days. But this is a wood vise with wooden threads on there to tighten up things. Who would imagine make one out of wood nowadays where everything is steel? This is the means of where the frontiersmen lived. The log cabin. You can see pot-belly stoves. You can see all the pots, the pans, and such. I have this rooster in here for one reason. He was the method of how you get up at sunup. Those darn roosters, they'd start cackling and crowing right at sunup. When nature called, there was no modern plumbing, so what they had, and it was common, was an outhouse, and I'll show you what one looks like. Oh my goodness, it's being used. I'm sorry. Now I talked about modern living back in, as they known it, back in the 1800s. Well, this is a young Abraham Lincoln. He was born in 1809 in Kentucky in one of these log cabins. Frontierland here is just a small portion of what we have to offer here at Historic Auto Attractions in Roscoe, Illinois. So we hope you get a chance to come and visit us, and you can see all these things for yourself.